Today we're out at the Texas State Fair with Ford's latest Super Duty. This is the heaviest duty truck in Ford's lineup, and it's received a very thorough refresh. Actually somewhere between a refresh and a redesign, I guess, depending on how you count it. Ford is calling this a new generation, even though it does share quite a lot with the outgoing model. First of the changes, obviously, is the redesigned aesthetic. So we have the C-shaped LED accent strip in most models, but not all. Multi-module LED headlights in this top-end trim. This is a Platinum model, so we get all of the accents, etc., that you might expect in a big, expensive truck. Multi-module little elements here in the grille, lots of chrome, metal bumper there that's body color painted, and then we have the parking sensors up front with LED fog lights. If you're wondering what the base model looks like, here is a base 450. We don't have the LED accent strip. We have really big halogen headlights, but a lot of the same sort of design cues. Big, bold grille going on there, and then you can see that we have a bit of an homage to the LED accent strip with that gray bit inside the headlamp module. Big headlights, lots of chrome, just as you'd expect in this model. This one still has tow hooks, but it doesn't have the front parking sensors. Rather unfortunately, Ford has yet to release engine specifications, and that's a pity because this is the biggest news for the new Super Duty. In addition to the 7.3-liter V8 that we had last year, there's a new base engine. It's a 6.8-liter gasoline V8 based off of the 7.3-liter engine. They've basically just adjusted the stroke of the pistons. Then we have two diesel engines with some pretty significant changes between the two of them. There's a standard output and then there's a high output version. The high output version they're claiming is going to be the most powerful in this class. We don't have official numbers. They're probably waiting until Ram and Chevy get their numbers out, but expect somewhere right around 1,000 pound-feet of torque and probably well over 400 horsepower out of the highest output version of the diesel engine. Also big news, all engines are going to be mated to a 10-speed automatic transmission, so no 6-speed anymore. Everything is going 10-speed, and the power takeoffs, those are going to be standard. Going back to styling for just a moment, as you'd expect, there's some subtle changes around the truck, but it's still instantly recognizable as a Super Duty. New vents right there on the side, new wheels, new tires, etc. We still have the power extending tow mirrors, and then we still have this very distinctive character line with the window going back. Same cab arrangements that we had before, so you can still get a standard cab Super Duty, or you could get the big cab, of course, if you want to, but none of the cabs is going to be quite as big as the biggest cab available in the Ram. Keep in mind, however, that the Ram's cabs are getting a little bit old, and this has a much more modern design to it. So even though Ram does have a bigger cab, I find this cab more comfortable. Back here, of course, we have an 8-foot bed, just as you'd expect. But what you might not expect are some of the changes back here as far as carrying and loading your cargo. We have a power tailgate, something that we didn't have before. So if you're interested in powering your tailgate up and down, you can now do that in the 3/4 ton and 1 ton trucks. That's a really handy feature if you're frequently towing a gooseneck or a fifth wheel, something along those lines. And if you're doing that, we have some new sensors here as well. We actually have parking sensors integrated into the top of the tailgate. These are not so you can sense the sky falling. They're so that you can have the tailgate down and make sure you don't crunch your tailgate when you're backing up to a loading dock or backing up to your trailer. There's also a camera module right there, so that way you can actually see where you're backing up into when the tailgate is down, because the regular camera on the tailgate, that's still located right there just by that handle. We then have another view so that we can see top down on your hitch to make that alignment better. And we have autonomous steering, so that way the vehicle can actually guide you back to your trailer and make sure that the hitch and the ball are aligned. Some really cool features for trailering. We have some additional steps here because the beds are getting bigger and bigger with every generation. And those aren't the only steps. There's also one up here at the front of the bed to help you get back there into that bed as well. We, of course, have the same camera modules on the back of the cab so that we can see that fifth wheel back there in the rear as well. We'll go inside the cabin of the Platinum for a quick look around this top end trim so you can see what's going on. The changes are not extreme. This is very similar to what we find in the F-150, although you don't find the enormous screen that's available in the F-150 Lightning. Instead, we have approximately a 12-inch touchscreen right here in the middle. Still have the Pro Trailer Assist backup button there, buttons up top for things like the exhaust brake, etc. Lots of physical buttons and controls, which a lot of folks are going to like. Similar four-wheel drive controls over here on this side, no 4 auto mode. You'll notice that. Over here we have controls for the dual zone automatic climate control, heated ventilated seats, etc. The onboard inverter outlet there. We now have the availability of a 2 kilowatt onboard inverter, which is a really great feature. The passenger has the same dual glove box setup that we find in the F-150, and then over here on this side, we have a full-color large LCD instrument cluster available and a heads-up display as well. We have the latest Ford truck steering wheel with controls for the adaptive cruise control, but no Blue Cruise system available in this truck, at least at the moment. Over here we have controls for the infotainment system. One thing that I found surprising is that even though we have a column shifter, we don't find the work surface available in here that we do find in the F-150. Instead, we have a more traditional cup holder arrangement there, and then a padded armrest that opens to reveal that center console storage area. As far as the seat design goes, they're pretty similar to the F-150, which is just as you'd expect. So in the top-end models, you even get this ratchety shoulder section here, very adjustable four-way headrests, pretty comfortable seats, and definitely better seat comfort than we find currently in Ram's heavy-duty lineup. Also, a skosh more headroom in the rear. So if I put my head back here to the headrest, I have about ½ an inch of headroom left. If I sit in a more natural position, it's maybe about 3/4 of an inch, but this model has the big panoramic moonroof here that is not available in the heavy-duty Ram. Heavy-duty trucks are, of course, all about towing and hauling. We don't have official specifications just yet, but Ford has said this will be best-in-class payload. So expect well over 4,000 pounds of payload in a ton of different configurations, and of course, even more depending on the configuration of F350 or F450 you get. We still have the F450 as a different model from the 350, which is a bit of an interesting twist in the Ford lineup. This is the max tow version, basically, of the 1-ton format of Super Duty. The max payload version is going to be the F350, and in the Silverado lineup and the Ram lineup, they just smush them together into the 3500s. This F450 obviously is pretty cool in this format because you can still get it with a long bed and a standard cab, the wider track up front, and the dualies in the back. This is a really cool looking truck, I have to say. But anyway, back to the feature set. One of the interesting things I noticed in the previous generation heavy-duty lineup from Ford is that they didn't have the load cells in the suspension like we find in the F-150. Well, they've fixed that. Now we have the onboard scales functionality. So if you are planning on towing a lot of weight, or if you're really doing max payload kind of duty in your truck, you can now have the load cells in there to make sure you're within the payload envelope for your particular truck. Again, no specific towing capability numbers, but you can expect well over 30,000 pounds of towing ability, probably over 37,000 pounds of towing ability, to be perfectly honest, in the max tow versions, which again is going to be that F450. Also kind of cool, which we don't have any examples of here, are that we're going to have new blind spot systems and 360-degree camera systems available for trailers. Here's what's going on there. In a regular heavy-duty truck, you would have the sensors right back here in the taillight modules. But obviously, if you're towing something this big and this wide, those sensors aren't going to be able to see beyond the trailer. So instead of using the taillight mounted sensors that we find back here in this Tremor model, with a fifth wheel or a gooseneck trailer, it's going to use a sensor set that is mounted on the trailer itself. You'll buy the accessory from Ford, you'll have it integrated into your trailer, and that's going to give you blind spot awareness on those bigger trailer formats. Of course, these blind spot sensors are still trailer aware. So if you have a conventionally attached trailer and it's a little bit narrower than some of those big fifth wheels, then the system is automatically going to know that the trailer's there, and it will sense in the blind spot. This is simply for those bigger trailers, those big, really expensive fifth wheel motorhomes, etc. That's where this system is going to come into effect. Also, you're going to find a new 360-degree camera system for trailering, which seems pretty cool. That is going to operate on a very similar process. So you install the accessory onto your trailer, it integrates with the truck, then the truck is going to show you that 360-degree trailer view in the infotainment system as you're trying to park that big trailer at your favorite campground. If that's still not enough news for you, there are a bunch of connected features that are enabled by the 5G onboard modem in the Super Duty. These are going to apply not just to regular consumers like you or I that might be buying one for personal duty, but also to businesses that operate large fleets of F-250s, 350s, of course, e-transit vans, regular transit vans, etc. This system is going to allow things like trailer navigation. So if you have a trailer connected to the vehicle, it's going to tell you that you can go on this route with the trailer profile. If you have a big wide trailer, this could be a problem, or a really long trailer and you're not sure whether that will fit on the route that you're driving on. The other thing this will enable are some fleet connected features. Obviously, where is my truck? What is it doing at 3 a.m.? But also, I don't want my truck to start at 3 a.m. So you can actually, as a business owner, program things in and say, I don't want my truck to be running at this time of the night. Obviously, you'll also be able to tell how many miles your fleet has driven, what kind of fuel economy you're getting, alarm notifications, and a perimeter camera system will be available at some point later that appears to be an additional accessory. You'll be able to get that on the vans as well, so that way if the alarm goes off, you can actually see who is doing what with your work truck. Lots of really interesting internet-connected features. Lots of upfitter ability as well. Ford has said that they're opening up the APIs for the infotainment system, so upfitters can integrate their upfits like bucket truck controls or crane controls, etc., right there into the infotainment system. That's a really cool, handy feature for potential fleet customers. If you want to get your hands on the new Super Duty, head on down to your Ford dealer now, because they probably are going to be taking orders very, very soon, and these should be in production early calendar year 2023. Also, if you want to see one in person, head on down to the Texas State Fair, because these are going to be on display here and you'll be able to take a look at them in person, see the changes. They even have some previous generation F-250s and F-350s around here, so you can see what Ford has done for the new 2023 model year. And of course, check out the related coverage from the Texas State Fair. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so. We'll see all of you later.